Hey there, Froglio here, your friendly underfrog of Yu-Gi-Oh! And today I have a bit of an interesting video for you because I want to talk about Yu-Gi-Oh's Tengu format, my personal favorite legacy format of Yu-Gi-Oh! So far, and one of the reasons why Tengu format is one of my favorite formats, if not my favorite format of Yu-Gi-Oh! Is because of how first of all, how like deep it is in terms of like just general card pool. Like it's deep enough, late enough into Yu-Gi-Oh's history where there's quite a bit of a vast card pool to choose from between generic staples and different archetypes and theme types, deck themes and all of that, that are actually genuinely like viable in the format as well. But also, you can actually be pretty creative in the format because while there are like two or so main decks that are like the tier one decks, those being agents and Tengu plants, aka plant synchro, and various chaos strategies and stuff like that, you can break from that mold pretty easily as long as you include enough decent cards in your deck and actually still have a fighting chance against even some of the best decks. Like you might not win most of the time necessarily. It kind of depends. But you can win at least a decent chunk of the time and still have fun. And actually, even in the games that you lose, you might actually have a fighting chance. And I'm actually going to showcase some of that to you today with a deck that I'm not even like super passionate about. I just crafted this, not crafted, but like, I put together this deck, a little bit ago, like I think a few weeks ago. I started building this, and it's not even a deck I'm super passionate about. I just saw some like synergies or stuff that maybe go like, I wonder what I can do with this kind of build and see how well this kind of build can work in practice because it seems kind of weird. Seems kind of like a mess of a pile, I guess, sort of. It has a bit of a loose warrior theme to it, but other than that, it seems kind of like janky and loose and stuff. But I just wanted to see how this kind of a deck can actually function in Tengu format, and it actually turns out surprisingly well in practice, as you're going to find out. But also stick around till the end of the video here because I do have like a bit of a deeper discussion to talk about with this. But first of all, I do want to showcase this match here, at least this first game. So we're gonna play, and I get to go first. Say my good luck, have fun. And as you can see, I summoned this absolute crusader here, which, by the way, is just barely legal in Tengu format as it was printed in Generation 4, since similar to Thunder King Ryo, that you can like tribute to negate a special summon as long as it's a level 5 or higher monster, which is kind of interesting, but it's also a level 4 warrior that you can search off a reinforcement of the army, and it's an earth that you can use to go into Naturia Beast. So I thought it was kind of an interesting card to play around with. I wanted to see where its space can be possibly in this meta. So I just wanted to kind of include that. And since I'm playing the Warrior Pile deck, I decided why not just throw that in there. Got a turn one Naturia Beast, which is nice. Um, and yeah, so basically the main strategy here is limit reverse and things like Call the Haunted, Monster Reborn. Basically just ways to revive these little guys that have 1,000 or less attack, and they happen to be warriors, so they're searchable by reinforcement in the army. So I have like a fire trooper in here, so this is basically sort of like if I need to do that little bit extra damage, I can summon this, burn them for 1,000, and later I can summon it back with this if I need to do another 1,000 more. So that's like 2,000 damage every, when I, summon it, send it to the graveyard and summon it again. So I figured that like if I ever get to a close game, I just need a few more life points out. I can possibly maybe burn them out with this. And Exiled Force is pretty self-explanatory. It's removal that's special summonable by limit reverse, and DD Warrior Lady is just a really good removal card for monsters. Um, and I don't know why I put this in defense mode. This was like to protect myself from Mirror Force, but they had no card set, so I have no idea why I put it to defense mode, but I don't really think it ends up mattering in this game. Um, and I made the Armory Arm, and it's somewhat of a burn-ish deck, so I think that's probably why I wanted to go in there because I do run a copy of Magic Cylinder. It's not a full-on burn deck. I just run a few burn cards to maybe catch the opponent off guard. Again, this is very much a work in progress, especially this version. This was actually one of the earlier versions of the deck. Later, I'm going to show you a little bit more of a fine-tuned deck. It's not super fine-tuned yet, but it's a little bit more fine-tuned after this match, which I'm going to show you in the next replay. But yeah, they go all out here with all these monsters, and I'm in a bit of trouble because they have like the card advantage over me. But I got the heavy storm. I could pop their guy with exiled force, but they still got the gotchi online. But now I can clear the gotchi with DD Warrior Lady. That's why I really love DD Warrior Lady in this format because it can clear gotchi, and a lot of people have hard time clearing gotchi. And now they're down to just a few hundred life points. So this is where the burn would be nice, but then I Dark Hole. So that was Agents. I just beat Agents, and this guy I think was preparing for a tournament because there's a tournament that was coming up when I did this. So I think there were even someone who was actually preparing for the tournament because I think I saw them there. I'm not sure. Well, no, I did see them there. I saw a replay, but yeah, they're playing Agents, and Agents are like the gatekeeper deck, right? And I was able to get a game off of them. Like I had to fight for it a bit, but I did get a game off of them. And now we're playing a second game here, in the same match. And I'm going to tell you right now that I didn't end up winning this best of three match. But, seeing as I did get one game off, and this is something that's not in the deck anymore, I had a bit of a ice barrier mini package in the deck. I just wanted to see what that could do, but I didn't end up liking it, so I ended up cutting that from the deck. That's kind of my main change that I've made so far, was cutting the whole ice barrier package and stuff. But see, it's an out to Christia. She's an out to Christia in theory. Of course, Orange Light negates. So DD Warrior Lady is actually pretty solid against Agents, not going to lie. And searchable by Sangan, searchable by Reinforcement of the Army. And she's a light, so if you attack into something, they let it go through to the damage step. You can like pitch Honest, and they might not be prepared for that because normally they are prepared for her banish effect, not for you to pitch an Honest. So I thought it was she's kind of like a pretty underrated card in the format in my opinion because literally nobody plays it. It's legal at up to 3 copies per deck. Um, Albeit she is a little bit past her prime from when when she was in her prime from like the DM era, like Goat format and Vampire format and those sorts of formats, Warrior format. Um, that's when she was at her peak. But I think she's still solid as like a fun little tech, like rogue option to out some of these very sticky monsters like Gotchi, Christia, and it banishes too. It banishes, it doesn't target. Um, so it's a pretty versatile, I think. It's a pretty underrated card in the format. So, um, I do like to experiment around with her a little bit. Sometimes I'll just throw it in a side deck as just a generic option in case I feel like I need to run something like that. And she gets over a Thunder King too. She can banish the Thunder King, which is important to get over in the format. But yeah, they were pretty like um, receiving to my creation too. They really enjoyed seeing it, and it was a fun game overall. So even though I didn't win this game, this match, I did win one game off them, and this is Agents. Like I actually went toe to toe with Agents. Like we went back and forth. Like they had to use their orange lights for me to not out their Christia with the DD Warrior Ladies. I think it's pretty good. Like there are a couple cards I'd cut even further. Like I still have the Magic Cylinder and I still have the Fire Trooper in the deck, as you're gonna see later. But and I might cut those cards because those are a little bit too gimmicky. I don't think the burn really ever comes up in practice. And I do have a 45 card deck, as you'll see again if you didn't see it this time. It's still 45 cards currently, but I know of a few cards I can cut. But basically, I took this deck, from 60 cards. I had a big 60 card pile, and I slowly reiterated until I got down to 45, and I think I'm going to get to 40 eventually. But this was just a weird, just sort of laid back deck I just kind of threw together a little bit with a little bit of synergy thoughts in my head, again, with like the Limit Reverse, the Exiled Force, the Fire Trooper, and the whole warrior package and stuff. So now I want to show you another replay here, but this is not going to be much of a replay. Um, Here, let's just play it. So we're gonna play. I go second, they go first. It looks like they're playing like some sort of synchro based thing. But here it's my turn. I have a DD Warrior Lady, and this is pretty solid because it gets over a 2k defender, although they have Solemn Warning so they can negate it. But watch what happens here. Okay, so what happened is, look, they're like, strike one, 45 cards. Yes, I'm playing a 45 card deck. Ooh, who cares? It's a little bit less consistent than it could be. Strike two, a bad card. So apparently DD Warrior Lady is a bad card. And why are these strikes? I'm confused when they're sending these messages. Like, why are these strikes? What's wrong with me? There's nothing wrong with having a 45 card deck. That's not illegal. It might be a bit unoptimal, but it's not illegal. Like, I'm playing a perfectly legal deck, and then DD Warrior, a bad card. That is not even objectively true. It's not a very widely played card in this format, whether it be the main deck or side deck. It's not played really at all by most people, but I like to play it, and it's not a bad card. Like, we saw it out Gotchi, we saw it almost out Christia. You're telling me this is a bad card? I almost outed the Debris Dragon. Like, yeah, they can negate it with Solemn Warning, but at least they would be down a Solemn Warning and should be in my graveyard instead of the Banished Zone. So, and if they didn't have the warning, I could have banished the Debris Dragon, whereas I otherwise couldn't really have outed the Debris Dragon. I mean, like, sure, I could probably mind control it, which is another play I could have done into Stardust Dragon, because I'm pretty sure that works, but, or even Black Rose. But yeah, they just quit the duel, and strike three is, oh, no, good luck, have fun. So first of all, um, as you saw here, and this duel came way before this one. I did say good luck, have fun here, or at least I tried to. I kind of, missed it. But if people who know me know that I do like to say good luck, have fun at the beginning of these games, I just sort of missed it here. But they said you too before I even had a chance to say good luck, have fun. So that, I think that's part of what threw me off there. But at the same time, it's like, wait a minute, like, do I really have to say that at the beginning of every duel? Is that really required? And besides, even if it was, they didn't say it. Why am I the one that has to say good luck, have fun, and they're the one that says you too? Why couldn't they have said good luck, have fun? They're the one that was improper here, in my opinion. You don't just start off saying you too before someone says anything. That doesn't make sense. That's so robotic. Like, this person is not even a real person. They must be AI, because you don't say you too to nothing. They're the ones that are supposed to say good luck, have fun if they want to make the first move in conversation. Like, it doesn't make sense. This person is so salty, and just for me playing, a fun deck in a fun format. Like, it's not even an officially like sanctioned thing by Konami, because they want to, you know advertise advanced format and whatnot. So it's like, and this is not a tournament game. Oh, obviously they wouldn't have quit if it was, but you know, and yeah. So now let's go into the next replay here. I'm just gonna fast forward to this. Um, but yeah, we should be able to experiment because this is a fixed format, right? There's no new cards are going to be in it, right? No new cards. So we might as well dig deep into this well, right? This big deep well that Tengu has, and try things out. Why just stick to the main meta decks in, when we could be reiterating, when we could be discovering, when we could be figuring new things out and experimenting and just having fun? This is a fun format, right? It's supposed to be a fun format, and there's so many things that are viable here that people don't even attempt to try. And I just won game one there. So now we're going to against Gravekeepers. Gravekeepers are a pretty solid strategy, and I just won game one with this junk deck, this absolute slop, slap together deck that this is not even my most passionate deck. It's not my most passionate creation. I have other creations I want to show off eventually that I am more passionate about than this. And I just took a game off of Gravekeepers, which is a pretty solid deck in this format. It's not tier one, but it's basically anti-meta. And they even got the Royal Tribute combo off, which is ridiculous. It's a really difficult deck to deal with, in my opinion. Especially this, because this is a graveyard deck, right? I have Limit Reverse. I'm really heavy on the Graveyard Revive, but I can't do it because of Necro Valley, right? So this deck is Necro Valley is pretty strong against my deck, so it's not even that easy for me to deal with. So yeah, and we're going kind of back and forth, and this is kind of what's fun about Tengu is that you can go back and forth, even playing a casual deck versus a pretty cohesive deck. And and this is what I really like about the format. You can experiment, and you can actually not feel too punished about it, unlike like advanced format and maybe some other formats. Okay, so I heavy stormed here, which would have killed all this back row, and he has this guy, so he would have been able to bounce a monster back to my hand. So this is not lethal. I didn't win here straight up. Like I probably maybe would have won the duel overall, but he still has two more Necro Valleys, and he's got some cards, some good plays and stuff. So I don't know why he just decided to quit here, but guess what? He says pile deck. So that's obviously in this context, it's supposed to be a derogatory term. Just he like looks at my graveyard or whatever, looks at my stuff and is like, oh, pile deck, and quits after my heavy storm here, which knocks out all of his stuff. And it's like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not playing some pure, archetype, that was just designed to work together specifically and explicitly. Like, like these purists out here who are like, oh, you have to play an archetype, you have to play a theme, or you have to play like the format is called Tengu Format, which is named after Tengu plants. And yes, there is a slight plant theme to it, but it's four cards. It's basically just a pile of generic cards. It is basically a pile deck with just four plant cards in it. Four plant cards in the main deck, and then Black Rose Dragon as plant support. Whereas I have lots and lots of warriors. This guy's a warrior, and I have lots of warrior support, like a reinforce, not lots of warrior support, but some warrior support, like reinforcement of the army is in here, um, and stuff. So it is kind of like a warrior deck, similar to how Tengu Plants is a quote unquote plant based deck. So like one of the best decks of the format Tengu Plants is a pile deck. You can play these pile decks, quote unquote, and still actually have a chance. Like I don't know how well this would do in a tournament, especially since it's not like super fine tuned yet. I still need to fine tune it a bit. It's a work in progress deck for sure, but this is just my casual Tengu deck that I just wanted to throw around and see what I can do with it, and it's performing somewhat well in practice, like surprisingly well in practice. I actually do like I haven't played a ton of games with it, but I actually win more games than I lose for the most part, or at the very least, it's relatively equal. My win to loss ratio with this deck is relatively equal so far, with maybe slightly more wins. But I don't really have a lot to show you here because I didn't like capture the replays of all of them and stuff, and I haven't played a lot of them. But so I'm interested to see, especially after I fine tune it a little bit more and figure out its identity a little bit more, how well it might do in the future. It's probably not going to do too well long term. I'm probably going to lose a lot more games. I just probably got a little bit lucky so far, but so far it's kind of interesting, and you can just throw a lot of stuff into a deck and just actually do well in Tengu format. And yeah, I'm just starting to sound like a broken record, but yeah. But one thing I urge the community not to do is poison this well. Do not poison this otherwise deep well by, you know, just sort of picking on people for trying to play rogue strategies, for trying to get creative, for trying to make their own deck. Like a lot of us come from the anime with Yugi, Joey, Kaiba, they all played quote unquote pile decks with like loose themes, right? Like Yugi had a bunch of random cards that with some spellcaster synergy. Kaiba had a bunch of random cards with some dragon synergy. They played pile decks. Why can't we just, if we can do the same in a real Yu-Gi-Oh format like Tengu format, and to an extent we can, that should be a great thing. That should be celebrated. That shouldn't be, an insult. But yeah, that's all I have. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.